For those of you awaiting, the Mets and the Astros were told 2 Eastern is when they're angling towards getting going. So for the next 35 minutes, hang out with us. Hang out with sweet Lou Piniella, for golly's sakes. Josh Lewin, pleasure to be with Houston.
All right, Josh, thank you very much. It has been raining on and off all morning, and in the end, we're going to get this thing started about an hour after the time we were supposed to. The grounds crew has been hard at work preparing for you as dry a field as they can for the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, the Houston Astros and the New York Mets. And now welcome to our broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. Tim McCarver is coming up, and coming into this game, the New York Mets are by far the best team in the National League, and a big reason why is the guy playing center field. Tim McCarver, Carlos Beltran has been everything in 2006 the Mets were hoping for last year, and I think he's making up for lost time last season.
Joe, the Mets have a lot of weapons. They can beat you with youth, they can beat you with experience, they can beat you with speed, they can beat you with power, and Carlos Beltran inculcates all of those things. And I think the Mets fans are seeing this year what the Houston Astros fans saw a year and a half ago when he had that phenomenal postseason that earned him the contract with the New York Mets.
Yeah, and you think about his first year with the Mets already, the production numbers better now than they were all of last season. On the other side, you've got the Houston Astros. They have used a dangerous formula the last couple of years to get into the postseason. They've done it again. They've had the mediocre first half. My question is, and the Astros fans' question is this team going to hit enough and be good enough to get there in 2006?
I think your first question is the most important. Are they going to hit enough? The last 2 years, 2004 and 2005, they had mediocre first halves. They came on strong the second half. This year, the same thing, but they've got 2 teams in that division that are much better this year, the Cincinnati Reds and the Milwaukee Brewers.
And they're chasing the St. Louis Cardinals. They're already giving the lineups and the umpire cards, and they're doing everything at home plate. That means that we get ready for this matchup just minutes away. Last year, the Astros were National League champions. This year, who knows for the New York Mets? All signs point to an October run. It's Houston and New York. The Astros and Mets next on Fox. Look at that, 77 degrees. We could be wearing coats and ties, but we're not. Humidity is 83%. The forecast is for rain showers on and off the rest of the day. So cross your fingers, hold your breath. Let's hope that we get through this one uninterrupted. That was really the reason why Willie Randolph sent John Maine to the mound last night instead of El Duque, Orlando Hernandez. And after a delay at the start of 54 minutes, they got through the game uninterrupted. Today might be a different story. How about El Duque and the lineup he will deal with for the Astros? It's brought to you by Taco Bell. Biggio will lead it off at second base. Then Mike Lamb is batting second and first. Lance Berkman having a terrific year. Aubrey Huff is the newest Astro with Preston Wilson in center. Luke Scott gets the start in left. Brad Ausmus does the catching. Adam Everett is the shortstop, and Brandon Backe is making his first start since early April. And the statistics for El Duque. Overall, a record of 5-8. Not good his last time out at all. Could not get through 2 innings on Sunday night at Wrigley Field, but his teammates came back and won the game. And our pitcher profile for Orlando Hernandez is brought to you by Exxon and Mobil Retailers.
Well, for the Mets, El Duque has been very good or very bad, no in between. And believe me, he has still got some gas in the tank. A terrific big game pitcher, and the Chicago White Sox know that when he came into Game 3 of the division series against the Boston Red Sox last year with the bases loaded and nobody out, and pitched 3 innings of scoreless baseball as the White Sox won the first plateau going to the World Series.
Yeah, basically after that they didn't need him or anybody in the bullpen other than Jenks.
Right.
It's the kind of postseason the White Sox had. Here's the defense for the Mets, brought to you by Gillette Fusion. Floyd, Beltran, and Nady in the outfield, with Woodward getting the start at third. It's a shame we don't get to show you more of David Wright. Then it's Reyes at short. Jose Valentin, the second baseman, had a grand slam last night. Delgado at first. He homered last night. Second straight game with a home run for Delgado. And Castro is catching with Lo Duca getting the start of the day off. There's David Wright. If you didn't watch our All-Star game, then let me fill you in on what happened. The AL came back to win with a 2-out rally in the 9th inning. They have home field advantage in the upcoming World Series, and the telecast was dominated by David Wright.
Dominated by him. And the home run contest was almost dominated by him.
There's Woodward, who makes the start in place of David Wright. And off we go. Biggio first up for Houston. Last night, a 7-0 shutout. Twirled by John Maine. Only 4 hits picked up by the Astros, and they are just not hitting. First pitch strike from El Duque. And a breaking ball doesn't break. 56-minute rain delay. And I think we would all take that right to the bank and hope that that's all we have to deal with regard to the rain. There's John Maine, who stepped up and on short notice pitched brilliantly last night. Out in front of that breaking ball is Biggio, and the count's 1-2.
Speaking about a guy who stepped up, the 13-year-old son of Craig Biggio, Connor Biggio, is the bat boy today at the request of Brandon Backe. So it's not Kevin, the 11-year-old, it's Connor, the 13-year-old, Biggio's son.
That misses down and away, 2-2. Is there any reason behind his choice?
Said we haven't been winning. So, and it's Brandon Backe who's coming back, first start since April 13th.
That is just outside the full count.
Fastball just misses to Biggio.
Here's a 3-2. Biggio takes a walk. Good at bat to start this day for Houston. Craig gets the walk. Leadoff man is on, and Mike Lamb will step to the plate.
There he is. There he is.
So it was Backe who said 11-year-old sit down, 13-year-old you're getting the nod today.
You got it.
Here's Lamb. Mike has had a very good year and finally getting a chance to play on a more regular basis. And he has rewarded the Houston Astros with those numbers. .320 average, 8 homers, 28 RBIs. Biggio starts and stops on strike 1 to Lamb. Houston is hitting just .254 as a team, and that average is last in the National League. Even though a couple of nights ago, Phil Garner thought his team looked hitterish. They did so in a loss against the Cubs. Here's a pop-up into center off the bat of Lamb and into the glove of Beltran. 1 out. Here are the numbers that Phil Garner can't like. In average, their last runs per game 15 out of the 16 teams, 11th in home runs, and 12th in stolen bases.
Yeah, with the addition of Roger Clemens and Brandon Backe back, they know their pitching is going to be at least average, probably better than average. They have a pretty good bullpen, even with Brad Lidge having his problems. They have an excellent, underrated middle of the infield defense. Adam Everett, one of the best shortstops in the game.
Check on Biggio, who has stolen 1. 40-year-old second baseman Biggio doesn't run like he used to. And Berkman, after his severe knee injury a couple of years ago, doesn't run like he used to. 1 on, 1 out, and Lance takes the breaking ball low for ball 1.
This is a very difficult hitter for El Duque. Not only is obviously a switch hitter, one of the most proficient switch hitters in the history of the game, highest slugging percentage, but he's a tough out for El Duque. A lot of times before the game, pitchers go through the lineup and they kind of circle in their mind who the guys are going to be the toughest to get out, and this guy right here is going to be the toughest for Hernandez.
The 1-1 pitch is down and away. The best start with the Mets for El Duque was easily on the 30th of June. It was a game at Yankee Stadium. It was in a loss, a 2-0 loss, but he went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs on 7 hits, and flashed some of that big game, big pitch style that he brought with him from Cuba. He's a guy that's won 3 rings with the Yankees, won one last year with the White Sox, and the only guy in the history of Major League Baseball to win his first 8 postseason decisions. Count is even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. That's what Tim was talking about. Highest career slugging percentage for a switch hitter belongs to Berkman. Still 2-2.
A lot of people have asked exactly what is a slugging percentage. It's at bats divided into total bases, and the best way to remember it is 1 home run. 1 home run is 1 hit with 4 bases. 1 into 4 is 4,000. So if you're 1 for 1 with a home run, then you're hitting 4,000 for a slugging percentage.
Here's a 2-2. Berkman rips it into deep right field. That is crushed. 2-0 Houston. And he was a difficult hitter for El Duque. That was a no-doubter into right, and for Lance, number 26. Wow, that thing was blistered.
And for today, he has a 4,000 slugging percentage so far.
How hard was that thing hit?
It was interesting. El Duque fell behind. He tried the curveball. Berkman was out in front of it. He was out in front of the changeup, waiting for another curveball clearly. And boy, did he pepper it. Man.
Astros needed that, a jolt here to start this game after the delay of about an hour. Now a breaking ball drops into Huff.
Curveball. Ooh. Oh. Pasted.
Huff fights one off, fouls one off, and it drops untouched. Strike 2. Houston comes in at 46-51. Right now 3-4 on a 10-game trip. They split against the Marlins. They lost the series at Chicago against the Cubs. And they lost last night 7-zip. So they needed something to get them going here today, and Berkman pops one here in the first inning. 0-2 pitch. Huff strikes out looking. Good curveball from El Duque, 2 out. That is the 26th of the year for Berkman. The rest of this lineup today for Phil Garner has a total of 29. There's a guy who was counted on to supply a lot of thunder in the lineup for Houston, and so far that has not worked out. Preston Wilson hitting .277. Fouls it back, strike 1. Preston's had some very good years and played here for the Mets, but so far 8 homers. And one thing that has followed him wherever he has been, a lot of strikeouts. That is hit in the air to right. Back at the wall. This ball is gone. A home run for Preston Wilson. And it's 3-0 Houston here in the first. Home run number 9, and he made it look easy.
When a guy strikes out a lot, usually he's out in front. And one of the best ways to get away from a strikeout is to stay behind the ball. And normally when you're hitting the ball the other way, you're behind the ball and good things happen. And a good thing happened to the Astros and to Wilson with that one swing.
Now it's Luke Scott. He takes high for ball 1. Walking in the tunnel earlier this morning, Preston had done some early hitting with Sean Berry, the new hitting coach for Phil Garner, and he was heavy into a conversation with Berry about his stroke and about what pitches he is offering at. Here's a fly ball into left, pretty well hit, but caught by Cliff Floyd, and this crowd gets on El Duque on his way back to the dugout. 2 home runs in the first, Berkman and then Wilson. Good start for Houston, 3-zip with Brandon Backe going to the mound. Fox Saturday Baseball is sponsored by your Exxon and Mobil retailers. We're drivers too. By the new Spicy Chicken Crunch Wrap Supreme at Taco Bell, it's good to go. By new Gillette Fusion, the best shave ever in manual and battery power. And by Chevy, baseball's #1 fan, Chevy, an American revolution. Here is Brandon Backe. Went on the disabled list in early April with an injury to his elbow. Went on the DL April 14th, and here he is. Had 4 rehab starts. How will he be? He misses down and in to the electrifying Jose Reyes. Is that over the top? Is that too much? Electrifying?
No, I think it's underrating him.
1 ball, 1 strike. He is one of, and I know I speak for you on this, we've watched him the last couple of years. Jose Reyes, look at the numbers for Brandon Backe making his 3rd start, is one of the most exciting players to watch in the game today.
No question about it.
Switch hitter, great arm for a shortstop, and he can fly on the bases. Strike 2. He's 23. David Wright is 23. 2 guys combined to make less than $800,000 for the year, and the New York Mets pennant chances are riding with these 2 kids, and they have delivered so far this season. The 1-2 from Backe. 2-2.
So one thing about Brandon, even during his rehab starts, and what has concerned Kevin Hickey, the pitching coach of the Astros, and Phil Garner, it was his wildness. He was even wild during the rehab starts.
He gets Reyes on a pop-up to the left side and into the glove of Aubrey Huff. Taco Bell starting lineup for the Mets. You know Reyes. Now Jose Valentino hit a grand slam last night. Will step to the plate. Carlos Beltran, Carlos Delgado. Then it's Floyd, Xavier Nady in right, Chris Woodward at 3rd. Ramon Castro does the catching. And El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, pitches and bats 9th. Here's Valentin. His play has called off the search for another second baseman for this Mets team. If the season ended today, that average would be a career high for Valentin, who's played a long time. To 239 home runs in his career. Number 239 last night. Up on the count here, 2-0.
Yeah, those 41 RBIs and 211 at bats. So about an RBI per 5 at bats, which would put him in the top 15 in the National League. He has just been terrific for Willie Randolph.
You are making some math teacher watching down in Memphis today who taught you way back when very proud. You're figuring out slugging percentage live on the air. You're figuring out at bats per RBIs. I'm impressed. Can't pull that off. 2 balls and a strike on Valentin. Now 3-1 from Backe.
Wait till we get to the sine and cosine and start using trigonometry.
Well, then that's when I leave the booth. Beltran on deck. Backe on the mound. 28-year-old brings it on 3-1. And a 1-out walk. How about the defense for Houston? It's brought to you by Gillette Fusion. In the outfield, it's Scott, Wilson, and Berkman left to right. On the infield, Huff, Adam Everett, who is one of the best defensive shortstops in the game. Biggio at 2nd, Lamb at 1st, and Osmus doing the catching for Brandon Backe. Here is Beltran, the focus of our pregame chat. Having a great season, hitting .278, but 5th with 27 home runs. Curveball is low, and tied for 4th with 79 RBIs after knocking in 78 all of last year. Switch hitter has settled in, at least with the Mets, not yet really here at home. 2-0.
The advantage, another advantage the Mets have, they have such balance throughout the lineup. 3 switch hitters in their 1, 2, and 3 holes. Gives Willie Randolph a lot to work with.
There's a strike, 2-1. Beltran has been hot of late. Overall for the season, he's still hitting only .209 at home. But he hit 2 grand slams this week, one on Sunday in Chicago, one on Tuesday in Cincinnati, and the last 38 games, 13 home runs, 42 RBIs. That is ripped into right for a base hit. Valentin will turn and go. The throw to third by Berkman is cut off, and it's first and third, 1 out.
Excellent base running by Jose Valentin. Even though the Mets trailing by 3, Valentin had a good look at that ball in the hole and just took off, knowing Berkman does not have a good throwing arm in right field. You don't need the third base coach for this. You are your own coach.
Manny Acta's over there in case he needed him, and now at first and third, 1 out, and Delgado digging in. Our pitcher profile for Backe is brought to you by Exxon and Mobile Retailers.
As Joe said, his last start April 13th, and upon return, will wildness be a problem? Well, he walked Valentin, and that slider equals a sprained elbow more than any other pitch for a pitcher, and we'll try to demonstrate that in the first 3 innings.
Delgado was really struggling until the last 2 games. Trying to bust out of it, trying not to jump at pitches, and he flies one into center field. Wilson came in, goes back, has it. Tagging and scoring is Valentin. It's 3-1. RBI number 62 for Delgado.
Backe crowding Carlos with the first fastball. You can see Osmus's glove is up, trying to go inside, and he does. And he gets the out, but the Mets score their first run.
So 3-1, and now Cliff Floyd is at the plate. He's been hot. Even though his average overall is 248, he came off the DL the last day of June, hitting 283 over his last 16 games with 14 RBIs, takes a ball. Backe was so good last year in the Game 4 start of the World Series. Now 28-27 at the time. And with his team facing elimination, did all he could. 7 innings, no runs, 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, no walks. Here's a shattered bat. It is a fair ball to end the inning as Lamb grabs it and steps on the bag. A run for New York with plate 1 here at Shea. 3-1 Houston. Back for the second inning, 3-1 Houston on top, and that one's a little high and tight for Osmus with Everett and Backe to follow. 2 home runs in the first inning for Houston, a 2-run shot by Berkman, and then a solo blast by Preston Wilson the opposite way. 1 ball, 1 strike from Hernandez. There are the 2 guys, Berkman and Wilson, and there is ball 2 up and in. Outside of that real good start that we talked about in the first inning at the Yankees on the 30th of June, as you said, it's been hit or miss, but I don't know if there's been enough hit for El Duque and Orlando Hernandez to calm the nerves of this Mets organization, thinking that they've got their starting pitching squared away.
Yeah, because of that. I mean, he's relying on too many breaking balls right now. He does not have the arm strength to blow it by any of the hitters.
Really dealing on more with deception than with raw stuff.
High leg kick and breaking balls.
Drops down there and misses up and away, full count. So with the trading deadline approaching, obviously Omar Minaya is looking for help. He stopped into the booth and we had a nice chat with him. What a great job he's done here with the Mets. He inherited some good young players and he has added some veterans to the mix, like Delgado, like Pedro Martinez. And he hopes like El Duque, but they are looking. And pitching is where they're looking. 3-2 pitch is chopped to second for Valentin. 1 out. We had our discussion with Omar Minaya. I know Ken Rosenthal is joining us again here today at Shea Stadium. What are you hearing on the Mets' behalf and where they might be looking?
That earlier this week, I started to hear from baseball people that the Mets were more open to trading their top outfield prospect, Lastings Millage, than they've been in the past. But the question is, who do you trade him for? Marlins, Dontrelle Willis remains out of reach. They haven't talked to the A's in 3 weeks, so a deal for Barry Zito looks unlikely. They've talked about Miguel Batista from the Diamondbacks. You're not trading Millage for him. So really, their search continues. And keep in mind, some of the pitchers that they've looked at, Livan Hernandez, Rodrigo Lopez, those guys likely would clear waivers in August.
1 ball, 1 strike on Adam Everett. And I think as far as Lastings Millage is concerned, there's one guy out there that Omar Minaya would consider trading Lastings Millage for. Here's a shot into left. Back at the track. It one hops the wall off the bat of Everett. And he's got a 1-out double. And that pitcher is Dontrelle Willis.
Right.
Outside of Dontrelle Willis, forget it. Not for a rental of Barry Zito.
Right. Zito you get for 2 months. Dontrelle Willis is locked up into a long-term contract, and you'd have him for the duration of his contract. So he'd go Millage for Willis, or at least implying to us, Millage for Willis, but not Millage for Zito. No way.
Here is Backe, who is a converted regular player into a pitcher, so he swings the bat well, and El Duque steps off. Ken?
Yeah, just to play devil's advocate here on the Lastings Millage issue. A lot of the Mets people obviously fear they'd be making another Scott Kazmir deal. But that deal a couple of years ago was made when they weren't really in contention. Now they are clearly headed to the postseason. If you wanted to, and you can think this out from the Mets perspective, you could justify going out and getting Zito with the idea that you would take and spend whatever it takes to get him signed. But the problem is he's got Scott Boras as his representative now. He's going to go out into the free agent market. It would cost anywhere from $75 to $100 million to keep him. They've got a new ballpark. They've got a new television network, but I don't know if they want to take that risk.
Here's a breaking ball in for a strike to Backe, and it's 0-2.
It's like Halloween when general managers see Scott Boras coming.
Oh,
scared to death.
He might as well just wear a hockey mask
Right.
and just chase people around.
Jason Boras.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to Backe. Fouled out of play. And don't think Scott doesn't love the reputation. That reputation makes his clients a lot of money, and in turn puts money in his pocket. Here are the numbers for Barry Zito and Dontrelle Willis. You've got one team that's in heavy contention for a division with the A's, and the other side, Dontrelle Willis, an overachieving Florida team. There's a chopped foul by Backe. It's still 0-2. I mean, that's the other part of it. If you're talking about Oakland and Barry Zito right now, they're a half game up in the AL West. So clearly they would have to be knocked over to be willing to part with Zito, who, yes, will probably walk away as a free agent next year. You're also maybe getting rid of a lot of potential postseason money and gate receipts by having the team win the division maybe. Here's a pitch up and away. 1-2 is the count on Backe. There's the AL West. Texas is excited that Adam Eaton is on his way back to help that rotation. And they're only a half game out. Angels are 2 out, and even Seattle's in it at 5 back. 1-2 pitch. Backe lays off. 2-2. Osmus grounded out. Everett doubled. And Backe has evened the count. Young pitcher Taylor Buchholz pitched last night for Houston. Lasted 5 innings. Allowed 7 runs on 6 hits. Today it's Backe on the hill. That's on the inside corner. 2 down.
Hernandez popping this fastball. He dropped down to Backe and gets the strike call.
Here comes Biggio. Craig, his first time, walked and scored on a home run by Berkman. 2,885 career hits, with his son, the Bat Boy, looking on. Ball 1. Biggio is putting together a Hall of Fame career. And among active players, those are his rankings in hits, doubles, hit by pitch, runs, and games. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Craig is 115 hits shy of the magical 3,000 mark. And I think if he gets that, he will be a shoo-in.
I think even if he doesn't, he's going to get close, and you consider his career of starting as a catcher and playing second and playing center and moving around, being an all-star, being consistent, popping up.
I think he should, but I'm not sure it will be as automatic as if he were to have that 3,000 hit plateau.
Well, you and I will continue arguing during the break. Meanwhile, bottom of the second, 3-1 Houston. Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure. This is Budweiser. This is beer. This is the bottom of the second here at Shea with the Mets batting down by 2. Xavier Nady first up. Woodward will follow, and then Castro. And that one misses for ball 1. Matchup tomorrow of Mike Pelfrey, the young rookie, 6'7" right-hander who's 2-0 against Roy Oswalt. Here's a ground ball to second. Biggio picks it up. 1 away. Oswalt has no wins in his last 6 starts, and Mike Pelfrey becomes the 3rd Met to win his first 2 major league starts. Dick Selma in '65 and Gary Gentry in '69, the other 2 to do it. There's Oswalt, who can be as nasty as there is in the league.
And he has pitched well. There are good no decisions, bad no decisions. He's had some good no decisions over the last 6 starts.
Here's a pitch up and away, ball 1 to Woodward. Did a nice job filling in for Jose Reyes, who was out, missed 6 games with the cut on his left pinky. Woodward played short. During that stretch, the Mets went 4-2. On 2-0, Woodward flies it into right. Berkman over to get it. 2 down, bases empty. Castro coming up. Today's Burger King home field advantage. We look ahead. We hit the fast forward machine to 2009, when the Mets, like the Yankees, will have a new stadium. Kind of an Ebbets Field feel to it. And a stadium that will be state-of-the-art. The construction going on right outside the center field wall. Center to right center field wall. And again, it'll open in 2009. Burger King, have it your way, like the Mets will in their new park in a couple of years.
And that ballpark will be the 3rd ballpark in which the Mets have played. Mets fans remember the Polo Grounds back in 1962 and 63. Both of these teams came into the National League together in 62. And then Shea Stadium's first year was 64, and it will not be around anymore after the next couple of years.
1 ball, 1 strike on Castro with 2 out and nobody on. Good pitch, strike 2. Castro is part of a very good bench for the Mets. He's the backup catcher to Duque. Endy Chavez has been great coming off the bench. The same for Julio Franco. Today it's Wright on the bench with Woodward getting the start at 3rd base. That's on the outside corner, according to the home plate umpire Mike Winters, not Ramon Castro. First strikeout for Backe. 3rd inning, 3-1 Houston. Back after this from your local Fox station.
Major League Baseball, brought to you locally by your Tri-State Ford dealer.
First pitch is a good fastball from Hernandez for a strike to Mike Lamb. Berkman will follow, and then Aubrey Huff. 3-1 Houston on top. 2 first-inning home runs. Berkman and Preston Wilson. That's well hit into left field, but right at Cliff Floyd. 1 out. Chris Burke on the bench today for the Astros, wearing a microphone for us.
Aha! You can put it on the board! I called it! Yes! I called it! Get up! Go ball. Go ball. Let's go! Let's go! That's right. Is there room for 2 over here? Yeah. Back. He's sitting here? He's going to sit here?
You mean you have to ask for a place to sit in the dugout?
Come on, Chris, put your gum in your mouth. And that's where Backe's sitting, right? I would sit next to Andy Pettitte.
That's right. Well, the pitcher, starting pitcher, I understand. Yeah.
There's a breaking ball for a strike from El Duque. 1 ball, 1 strike. Little Hawk Harrelson for you there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the Hawks home run call.
Here is a check swing. Berkman went too far. Strike 2. There are some who believe that Chris Burke is the same type player that Phil Garner was when he played for the Pittsburgh Pirates and other teams.
That's an interesting point, and I think pretty accurate. Chris Burke has a lot of scrap iron in him.
Berkman strikes out looking, and that's strikeout number 3 for El Duque.
This is the best inning for El Duque, not because he's recorded 2 straight outs, but it's the way he's done it. He's used his fastball more. Regardless of how fast your fastball is on any particular day, the worst thing a catcher can do is abandon that pitch too early.
Huff fouls it out of play off to the left. You see the other scores scrolling across with Oakland and Detroit tied 5-5. You saw a 3-2 Chicago lead. And it's Livan Hernandez who is pitching today for the Washington Nationals. Pitcher that the Mets are rumored to have interest in. That's out of play. Strike 2 on Huff. Who's the older half brother, El Duque or Livan? El Duque.
I think so, because when he started he was 4 years older than he said he was.
Who's listed as the older half brother?
I think El Duque.
Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. So he could be welcoming his younger or older half brother to the Mets at some point after the trading deadline. That's up high, and the count's 2-2. Rick Peterson, the pitching coach, on the right, watching, and Huff out in front on a breaking ball, hits it to Nady. Back to get it, and the inning is over, and it's the first 1-2-3 inning for Livan's older or younger half brother. 3-1, Astros lead it. El Duque takes a pitch up, and we're underway in the bottom of the 3rd. 3-1 Houston out in front on the 2 home runs. Ball 1 to Hernandez, who's a 167 career hitter. This season 4 out of 24. Takes high, and it's 2-0. On deck is Reyes, then Valentin against Brandon Backe, who's allowed just the 1 hit. Belongs to Beltran. El Duque trying to bother the concentration of Backe, squaring around. He was not going to even offer at it. 2-1. Two and 2. Pedro Martinez, his hip is feeling better. He's getting over the food poisoning that sapped him of his strength, stamina. And Phil Garner, the manager of the Astros, almost caught that bat throw from El Duque in the mouth. Strike 1. Out number 1.
That's that slider we were talking about from Backe, and the bat comes out of El Duque's hand. It almost hits the opposing manager, but Phil appears to be fine.
So Hernandez is gone. 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd, and Jose Reyes, who popped up his first time, takes a ball. Last time the Mets were in the postseason, they ended up losing to the Yankees in the 2000 World Series. They are headed back in 2006. Strike 1 on Reyes with a 13-game lead as they play their 97th game of the season. Here's a 1-1. Inside, 2 balls and a strike.
No, 6 and a half. Yeah.
With 1 out, nobody on. Reyes lines 1 into right for a base hit. 1 on, 1 out.
In our scouting report, we told you we'd try to show you why Brandon Backe sprained his elbow back on April 13th against the Giants. Look at the motion that your elbow and the damage your elbow suffers when you throw a slider. Notice on a fastball, when you release the ball, there's no damage right in this area. But when you throw the slider, that happens. And that's why a lot of organizations don't teach that pitch, because of damage to young pitchers' elbow. And I would assume that's what happened to Brandon back on April 13th. He sprained his right elbow.
Here's a pitch high to Valentin, ball one with Reyes on at first and one out. Second hit for the Mets. Reyes started this game 6th in the National League with 114 hits. And when he gets on, it happens. Backe gives him a look. Number 1 in Major League Baseball in stolen bases with 40.
He's already 5th all time for the Mets. 132 stolen bases, and he's 23 years old. Pluto's the limit.
Has a big lead and draws another throw. Who's won? Mookie Wilson, I would imagine.
I think Mookie is number 1. Yep. Lee Mazzilli's right in there.
Did Dykstra do enough?
Bud Harrelson, I believe, is ahead of Jose. Dykstra, I don't think he was here long enough.
There goes Reyes. Throw by Osmus. Got him. Reyes turned around to ask Bruce Fleming for time. Randolph is going to argue. Reyes is headed back to the dugout. And caught for the 10th time this season. Reyes is out at second, 2 down.
He slid his shirt out of his pants. I've never seen that, where your shirt is tucked in, and by virtue of the head first slide, you slide your shirt out of your pants.
The whole thing.
Yeah. Good pitch to handle by Osmus, who's thrown out only 13.5%. This throw is high. Was Reyes' hand in there? He was safe. Our old buddy Bruce Fleming down at second. He didn't miss many, but it appeared he missed that one. One more look. Close. Very close.
That looked.
It looked like he was 4 out. Yeah, it did.
With 2 out and nobody on, a 2-0 pitch. Valentin takes ball 3. So you said it. Osmus 13.5% this year. He came into this year 5th best among catchers who are active in the big leagues at 32.7% throwing out base stealers. And of all guys to get when you're struggling, he gets Jose Reyes. Here's another look.
Was the left hand on the bag when the tag was made? Bruce Fleming thought so, and he's the only judgment that counts.
Full count now on Valentin. Next month, Bruce Fleming will become the 2nd umpire ever to umpire his 5,000th major league game. That's down and in, a 2-out walk. Listen to the anticipation and excitement with this crowd when Reyes takes off. It can be fun, right? I mean, stolen bases is still a vital part of the game. It's not just all home runs.
Oh, no, you're exactly right. But normally those are cheers reserved for balls hit in the air. Guys hit a ball on the ground, you rarely hear a crowd cheer. But any ball hit in the air, there's always that ooh.
1 on, 2 down. The walk gives Beltran another at bat. He singled his first time, and the count evens at a ball and a strike as Backe gets Beltran off the plate. Mookie Wilson is number 1 on the Mets all-time stolen base list. Howard Johnson, Darryl Strawberry, and Lee Mazzilli. Here's the 1-1. Dykstra was number 6.
Wow. Darryl, a bit of a surprise. and a guy who was an exciting player above and beyond those 1986 Mets.
Here's the 1-2. Beltran hits it in the air to right center field. Berkman on the run is there and makes a nice catch to end the inning. Took an extra base hit away and a run away from New York. Fourth inning rolls in. It's still 3-1. Houston on top. The caught stealing by Reyes on the part of Brad Ausmus, a big part of the third. Fox Saturday Baseball is sponsored by Capital One. What's in your wallet? By Goodyear's new Eagle with Response Edge technology. And by Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. Here's Preston Wilson. He checks his swing and fouls the first pitch for ball one. They have ball one, and then looked like he fouled it. Either way, Reyes went out to talk to Bruce Fremming after being called out, stealing second, and I think Reyes was having fun with Bruce more than anything. Here's a guy with Response Edge technology. Meatloaf is in the booth with us.
Oh, listen, everybody in the world wants to be between Mr. Buck and Mr. McCarver.
I don't
Trust
know.
me. Oh, yeah,
I don't
man,
know
come
about
on.
that. Preston Wilson grounds one to short, and Reyes kicks it. That could be Jose's 9th error of the season.
Yeah, I'm like a little kid right now. I'm like a little kid.
Fun, isn't it?
Bug-eyed up here, man.
But you're a legit baseball fan. I mean, sometimes
yeah.
we have guys on from the world of Hollywood or from the music world, and they're like, you know.
And they know baseball, nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Nada. Yeah, no, well, I know a little baseball. Little bit. A little bit, like he was safe at second, but that's okay.
Well, you know, a lot is said about taking your game out to the field. The first play that Reyes has after being called out at second base, he boots a ball.
Yeah, they haven't ruled on it. Now they have. It is an error, and it is number 9 on Jose Reyes. Runner at first is Preston Wilson. Good start to the inning, and now base hit by Luke Scott into right. Wilson will hold at second. It's 2 on with nobody out. So an error, then a hit, and Meatloaf. You are promoting another album. This is Bad Outta Hell 3 Sticks, right?
Yes, it is. Bad Outta Hell 3.
And it's coming out when?
It's coming out in October. And so if you're going to put a label like Bad Outta Hell 3, you know, everybody's going, yeah, I don't know. They're questioning that sucker right away. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, just because the first 2 did 54 million, what's he going to do now?
Right.
You know, and so, you know, a lot of doubters. So it's got to be unbelievable, and it's got to be in the grooves. And let me look at you straight in the eye and tell you the truth. It's in the grooves.
All right. I believe you. Do you consider yourself, I know you consider yourself a singer, songwriter, actor. In what order? Is there an order for Meatloaf?
Actor, baseball singer.
Okay. That got down to 6. Strike one is the count on Brad Ausmus with 2 on and nobody out.
Well, the baseballs were high school girls baseball coach, junior varsity up in Connecticut for 2 years. And the other baseball is fantasy baseball, and then singer. Yeah, I guess it's just 2 baseballs.
Here's a ground ball to the right side. Weird hop. Ballantine to second. Out over to first. Double play. 4-6-3. And there's Reyes showing off that great arm, turning it. Runner at third, 2 down.
Yeah, I don't think any other shortstop in baseball would turn this double play. But flat-footedly throwing out Brad Ausmus. Ausmus not a fast runner, but an idea of how talented that young Reyes is.
You know, I knew we were going to talk to you, so in my head, Meatloaf,
I'm still back on the thing that he noticed he was flat-footed.
Oh, yeah.
You're good.
It's my job, man.
You're good,
it's my
man.
job, though.
You're good. Holy smoke. I didn't see it till the instant replay.
Runner at third, 2 out, and Everett trying to surprise everybody. Shows bunt, takes the ball. I started to say that I started humming in my head, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. It won't leave.
I'm sorry.
I've done the entire game so far with 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
You know the chorus? I want you. Come on, baby. I need
That's where I
you.
leave you. That's where I divert.
Oh, there ain't no way I'm ever gonna love you. Now don't be sad.
Because, you know, in baseball, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runner at third, 2 out, and a broken bat foul. Listen to that.
Yeah, I tell you a funny story about this. The album back in '77, when we pressed it on the vinyl, was too long. So the record had to
Everything you do is live.
I know,
every song.
everything. But it had to be sped up to fit on the vinyl. So it sounds like, that's why I sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Maybe we can talk all night. That ain't getting us nowhere. I told you everything. So it was like Alvin and just driven me crazy for 30 years.
Really? But when you do it live, you go the other way.
No, we speed it up. We speed it up. Yeah, I sing it just like that live.
Sounds great.
Doesn't it? I want you.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Everett with Wilson at third and 2 down. You've got young and old who love everything you do. That's got to surprise you and make you feel good.
Yeah, I get it all the time. I get 14, 15-year-old kids coming up to me, singing Paradise and wanting autographs. And I just sit there and I'm saying, you sure you don't want Cruz over here? Wouldn't you rather have Tom's autograph?
Well, yeah, I mean, for somebody like me, not only the music, but Fight Club, Rocky Horror Picture Show. I mean, I'm kind of in the middle of all that stuff.
Yes, you are. You are.
So you were in a movie with Brad Pitt.
Yes.
And Edward Norton.
Yeah, called Fight Club. Been in 42 films.
42 films?
Yeah, been in 42.
He was in Basketball.
And you know what? He deserved an Oscar nomination for that performance. They
great.
just didn't vote him.
That's the worst movie. The worst movie.
No,
ever.
they've got new members in the Academy now. I think they'll vote for you next time.
There's a pitch down and away, ball 3 on deck. Is the pitcher back?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tim's ever asked you this. What was your first broadcast? How old were you? Were you 16?
I was 16.
Yeah.
16 years
and
old.
Did your
my dad
father
threw
just
me
put
on
you
the air.
through you and left?
God, it was awful. It was so bad. But you know what? If you're going to be there for nepotism, why not do it when you're 16? Why wait? Here's a 3-2 pitch. Everett strikes out. All right, bat out of health 3, October.
Bat out of health 3.
It's in the groove.
I'm telling you, I'm going to give you a copy. And everybody's been going this year as it goes, wow.
Wow, 3-1 after 3.5. Fox Saturday Baseball is sponsored by Chevy, baseball's #1 fan. Chevy, an American revolution. Big sponsor of Major League Baseball on Fox. Chevrolet, and off we go into the bottom of the 4th inning. First up is Carlos Delgado. Cliff Floyd and Xavier Nady will follow. And the first from Backe is up and away, a little ball 1. We had a chance to visit with Jim Hickey, the pitching coach for the Houston Astros, during the last break, and we'll play that for you after a little something from Delgado. 2-0. Delgado, his first time, hit a sac fly to center, scoring Valentin, and that's the only run so far for the Mets. Down 3-1. Here's a 2-0. 3-0 from Backe. That was fun having Meatloaf in here.
That was.
The innings always go too quickly when you have a guy you want to talk to.
Yeah, it's true.
And they take forever when you have a guy that you don't want to talk to. Here's ball 4, a 4-pitch walk. And that's a good start to this 4th inning for the New York Mets. Up comes Cliff Floyd, and here is our chat with Jim Hickey. All right, I don't usually like to interview pitching coaches who have a better voice than I do, but I will, Jim, and you're on the spot. How do you think Brandon's throwing so far?
Well, so far I think he's been a little bit fortunate in that he's been behind in the count on a number of occasions. Certainly, or of course, the run that scored via a walk, and he's dodged a few bullets after going to 2-0 and 3-1 counts, but he's got to clean that up a little bit if he's going to go deeper into this ball game and have some success.
Kevin, we talked about the slider and Brandon Backe's elbow. Any problem with any of your pitchers throwing that slider? Do you try to deter that in the minor leagues?
No, I don't think so. Probably almost quite the opposite. You encourage it because it's one of those breaking balls that you can throw for a called strike. I think it's one of the reasons we don't see a lot of the big, huge breaking curveballs, that you saw, a couple of decades ago, because the strike zone's probably a little bit smaller. And to be able to throw something in a fastball count behind in the count, you probably have to shorten it up a little bit like a slider.
Jim, last question. I'm sure you get tired of answering questions about Roger Clemens, but so far, how would you rate his performance?
I'd rate his performance as very good, actually. He was probably a couple of starts behind when he first started. Could have used maybe a little bit more time. Of course, he didn't go to spring training, so I would say he's at the point right this minute where he would be 2 or 3 starts into the season, so I'd rate it okay.
All right, Jim, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Well, right now, Brandon Backe, the focus of that interview, is in trouble. A walk on 4 pitches to Delgado. A base hit by Cliff Floyd to right. The base running by Delgado went first to third, and now here is Xavier Nady. And he rips one down the left field line. Foul. Strike 1.
And my apologies to Jim Hickey for referring to him as the batting practice coach of the Chicago White Sox, Kevin Hickey.
I'm sure he gets it all the time.
I would imagine he would occasionally.
And I also would imagine that he's really not too bent out of shape.
No, I don't think so.
He's done a good job for Phil Garner with this staff, young and old. He has an interesting mix with which to work. Here's an 0-1 pitch. Nady off the very end of the bat, fooled on that pitch, strike 2. Here are the numbers for Xavier. 35 RBIs, got off to a fast start, and overall has had a very solid first season here in a Mets uniform. Backe. Nady wouldn't go after it. Ball 1.
I think Xavier's going to see that pitch again. He hit the fastball up and in hard down the left field line, and then the curveball. What's the fastball inside?
Instead of throw over to first, and it almost got past the glove of Lamb, who was a little surprised over there.
Slider.
We know the arm action it takes, and Nady got a piece of it to spoil it. Good pitch. Still 1-2. Tying runs are on for the Mets here in the 4th inning.
Osmus asking Phil Garner to go through the signs again. The throwovers and pitch-outs are often called by the bench now. That's why we've said for years that speed has slowed the game down. Another slider from Backe.
And Nady flips it foul into the seats off to the right. I've never heard an organist give his or her version of Blister in the Sun by the Violent Femmes. The sun is trying to come out. It's actually brightened up quite a bit from the start of this day, where we began almost a full hour after we were supposed to. A 1-2. Almost caught Nady on the hands or on the forearms. It's 2-2.
It's always better to move the ball from one side of the plate to the other when you're setting up a hitter. So you had the 2 sliders away. Now by coming inside, you reestablish the slider. So expect Backe to come back inside. Or outside, beg your pardon. Slider.
And Nady rips it into deep left field, and with that swing, the Mets take the lead.
I do not understand that pitch. Brad Osmus called for a slider and moved inside to a right-handed batter. A slider is designed to go away from a right-hander, and when a catcher moves inside, as Osmus is right there, some bad things can happen. The ball breaks over the middle of the plate, and Nady doesn't miss it.
Let me ask you this, and I was thinking the same things. You see slider, you've seen him set up away on every slider, and then you wonder if Ausmus isn't just getting a little tricky back there, maybe trying to crowd the hitter Nady to think that the fastball's coming or something inside, and then he's willing to dive out and catch the slider down and away. Either way, the target is in a spot where you're begging for it to be hung.
Yeah, if nobody's on, you can see the tomfoolery involved. But with runners on at first and third, and you can see Backe upset right there. But pitchers they throw to the target, and to think that the target's on the inside, and then the slider is designed to be low and away to a right-hander, to have to move that target all the way across the plate is too big a risk to take.
Now this one is at the head of Woodward, and that gets everybody's attention, and Backe immediately looks down at his spikes to try to tell the world and everybody on the Mets bench that he didn't mean to do it.
And you never know, but of course with the circumstances,
it doesn't look good.
No, it does not look good. No, you're right.
(3-0). And they're going to get somebody ready in a hurry, as it looks like on that 2-0 pitch. Backe was trying to guide it to home plate.
Yeah.
Still nobody out in the inning. 3 runs home on the shot by Xavier Nady. And a 4-pitch walk. Second of the inning, 4th of the game for Backe as Springer starts to get loose. Let's go for an update. Here's Jeannie Zelasco in the Fox Network Center.
Hello, hello. Milton Bradley knows how to get your attention. Deep to left and out, a 2-run shot. Bradley, since he returned from the DL on July 14th, batting .500, and the A's on front, bottom 6.
Jeannie, thank you. We will keep an eye on that game. Detroit starts the day. Have you looked lately? 6.5 up on Chicago.
How about that?
Beat them 2 out of 3 in a recent series, and what a difference a week makes. Here's a good breaking ball that drops into Castro.
Oakland coming back and scoring 8 unanswered runs as the Tigers got 5 in the bottom of the first. You don't see that happen to Detroit very often this year.
Castro fooled on that pitch, pops it up. Everett, 1-on-1 out. Our Capital One trivia question is this: the Mets have 4 grand slams this week. What team holds the single season record for grand slams? You can't even reason your way through this. I mean, it's...
I can't. Well, I remember in 1968 the Detroit Tigers had a great year. Jim Northrup in particular. Northrup had a terrific year. I think he hit 4 grand slams that year. I'm not sure, but I remember the Tigers having a very good year as far as grand slams are concerned.
But it wasn't really challenging you. I'm just saying that any team during the course of any one year, no matter who's in their lineup, it's not like which team led the league in home runs. That's one thing. But grand slams is kind of one of those out of the box categories where you have to get the right swing, obviously at the right time with the bases loaded. So I'm just going to sit and wait for the answer.
Okay. Travis Hafner of the Cleveland Indians with 5 grand slams in the first half of the season this year.
Hernandez is up there to bunt and bunts it foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. We will visit with Willie Randolph at some point, and one of the questions has got to be about Pedro Martinez, who came into the clubhouse today and looked good, had a little spring to his step, and he is eyeing a return against the Atlanta Braves next weekend.
Pedro was scheduled to pitch a simulated game today, but because of the weather, the Mets were not allowed to get it in. But he did warm up in the bullpen.
Hernandez gets the bunt down, and the only play is at first, 2 away. Backe feeds Biggio covering the bag. Sacrifices scored 1-4. Down to second is Woodward with 2 out, and Jose Reyes coming up. This is what this kid can do. He is trying to drive home a run with 2 outs. He has 43 RBIs on the season. Breaking ball from Backe is in for strike 1. The interesting thing is that the Mets, who have this guy leading off at the top of their lineup, and what he does with his legs and the triples and the stolen bases and how he sets up this lineup, a very balanced lineup, as Tim said earlier. We'll have Pedro Martinez pitching next weekend, and they'll get to see him only one more time before the trading deadline comes and goes. The beauty of it is for the Mets is that they have a 13-game lead in the division, and they can afford to take it slow with Pedro Martinez and make sure he's 100% and try to save some gas in the tank for October.
They can also take it slowly with Mike Pelfrey, who starts tomorrow. 2-0 in 2 starts.
Reyes tips it foul into the glove of Osmus. He strikes out, and Backe survives the inning, but not before damage is done. A walk, a single, and a blast by Xavier Nady. His 14th of the year, a 3-run shot, and after 4-3 New York. Willie Taveras pinch hits and fouls the first one down the right field line, out of play, strike 1. Taveras is batting for Backe, who makes his first start since mid-April. He goes 4 innings, allows 4 runs, 4 earned, 4 hits, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. And a right-hander, Dave Borkowski, is getting loose now for Houston. As we play in the top of the 5th, Taveras trying to bunt his way on, fouls it, strike 2. Willie is a leadoff type, and with this opportunity, the pitcher spot first up in the 5th. Phil Garner is trying to get something started here with Biggio and Lamb to follow. Taveras strikes out. Orlando Hernandez rings up number 5 on the day.
Perhaps the best fastball he has featured all day, and he's throwing that fastball more. Coming out the first inning, throwing a lot of breaking balls, but it seems like he's gotten stronger as the game's gone on.
There's his pitch count as he works with 1 out to Biggio. He's 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. A lot of stuff going on around baseball, obviously, with the trading deadline fast approaching. One deal that was finished late last night was Shea Hillenbrand being picked up by the San Francisco Giants to play first base after he was just basically cut loose by the Toronto Blue Jays because of the way he acted. Making roughly $6 million, was going to be the DH, was unhappy after the season started with that role, according to the Toronto Blue Jays organization. And then he and John Gibbons, the manager of the Blue Jays, got into it during a meeting, and it unraveled from there. Here's a foul straight back, 2-2 on Biggio.
Hillenbrand refused to sit on the bench with his teammates during a game, and also said that the Toronto Blue Jays organization, that no one congratulated him on the adoption of his daughter.
Full count now on Biggio. Also wrote on the bulletin board, this is a sinking ship.
Yeah. All stuff that can get you traded unless you're a marquee player.
There's strike 3 over the inside corner, and that's 6 strikeouts for Orlando Hernandez. 2 out.
Again, the fastball from Hernandez gets Biggio.
So with 2 out, Mike Lamb will dig in. A look at today's AutoZone strike zone and first pitch strikes. 12 of 19 for Hernandez, who will last longer today than Backe, who threw 69 pitches through 4 innings. Lamb takes a ball. It's almost like now these Houston hitters are looking for junk to get him out, and Hernandez is surprising him with fastballs.
That's a good point and accurate.
2-0. Alex Rodriguez, Tim, became the youngest to get to 450 home runs with his 2000th career hit, but also committed yet another error for the Yankees against the Toronto Blue Jays. Lamb flies to center, and we go to the bottom of the 5th. Here at Shea Stadium, Mets will bat, leading by 1. Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Subway, eat fresh. By Travelocity.com. Book with Travelocity and you'll never roam alone. And by the auto parts experts at AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. What a job Major League Baseball did today of getting this field ready and starting this thing 1 hour after its scheduled start. Chuck Torres was the representative for MLB, and Mother Nature cooperated. It looked like this thing was going to be socked in here all afternoon, and then about 1:25 or so it stopped raining and they got the field ready. 0-1 pitch to Valentin. 0-2.
And it's the right combination for the Mets, starting John Maine last night. Complete game shutout, his first in the major leagues. And today, El Duque, who appears to be improving with more innings under his belt.
Dave Borkowski is on the mound for Houston. Backe went the first 4, and Valentin takes high, ball 1. And there is El Duque, who gave up 3 runs in the first, and since then, nada. Borkowski on 1 and 2. High and tight, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Beltran on deck, and then Delgado. Washington has opened up a 6-3 lead over Chicago. Oakland still leading 8-5 over Detroit. 2-2 pitch.
Chicago Cubs have gone from sentimental to hapless in a half a season.
And the question is, what are they going to accomplish, if anything, with the trading deadline approaching? Kerry Wood is shut down for the rest of the year as Valentin gets under it and pops it into shallow right. Berkman is coming on. 1 out. They got some veteran names they could move to try to get a little younger. We visited with Willie Randolph, the manager of the Mets, and here's our talk between innings. Well, Willie Randolph, every week we get a chance to talk to you. Your lead gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Congratulations on that. And I wonder if that allows you guys the opportunity to take it as slowly as you need to with a guy like Pedro Martinez and getting him back on the mound.
Well, I think you would do that ordinarily, but it does afford us the luxury of being very cautious with him. He's going to throw a side today, or actually a simulated game, and hopefully he'll be ready to go by next weekend.
What we're seeing from El Duque today is he's now surprising these Astro hitters with out pitches that are fastballs. I mean, his stuff looks different than it did in the first couple of innings. It looks like he's kind of weathered the storm here today.
Yeah, I hope so. His fastball sneaky. You know, he's been pretty much a finesse pitcher most of his career, but his velocity's been up since he's been here. So he's able to offset, you know, his off-speed stuff with a decent low fastball, and he's been doing that.
How tired of talking about the trading deadline are you?
Well, you know, that's part of what we do right now. This time of the year, you know, it's always a lot of talk and a lot of rumors, but you know, everyone's looking for pitching, and I'm sure we are too.
Okay, so who are you going to get?
No, it's a secret right now. We'll keep that under our hat.
All right, Willie. 13-game lead sounds pretty good. That's Willie Randolph. And this is Carlos Delgado. Here's Willie, second year with the Mets. Delgado digging his way in. Willie Randolph, like every new manager that comes to an organization that is looking for a little direction, talked early about changing the attitude and changing the approach. He has done that. He has players with which to work who can make a difference. He's got a good lineup. Omar Minaya telling us before the game the conversation they had was to make sure that if you're going to control one area of your ball club and stay on top of it, it's the bullpen, because everything filters off that. And I would say that while they're still looking to maybe add an arm in that pen, The Mets are blessed with a good group out there here in 2006. That swing was a little late, Carlos, and the count's 1-2.
Mets lead the National League in earned run average. Their bullpen does. Well, that's the way the game has changed. It used to be the starters first, and then you concern yourself with the bullpen. Now it's as much the bullpen as it is the starting pitchers, because the bullpens are used more often because there aren't as many complete games.
Good first inning of work for Borkowski. As we move to the 6th inning here in Queens, 4-3, Mets on top. Our Capital One trivia question was, the Mets have hit 4 grand slams this week. What team holds the single season record for grand slams? And the answer is the Oakland A's. Back in 2000 hit 14. Jason Giambi hit 4 that year for the A's. So there's the answer, and here is Lance Berkman, a 1-run game. Mets on top 4-3. Hernandez induces the clunker out to second. 1 away. 7 straight retired by El Duque. 1 out here in the 6th inning. Aubrey Huff coming up. MLB on Fox. The game of the week next Saturday. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern, noon Central. The Angels at Boston, the Mets at Atlanta. And Pedro might be pitching in that game. Also at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, the Cardinals at the Cubs. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Aubrey Huff is 0 for 3. And 2 quick outs here in the top of the 6th inning for Hernandez.
That's 7 in a row, actually 8 if you include the double play. Pitch in this game that was the most important for Hernandez, 1st and 2nd, and nobody out in the 4th inning. And he induced the double play grounder by Osmus.
So El Duque is doing his part. Omar Minaya in his past has proven that he's not scared to make a big deal at the deadline, trying to throw his team over the top. Preston Wilson takes a strike. You go back to 2002 while with Montreal. He got Bartolo Colon as a rental and traded Cliff Lee and Grady Sizemore, 2 big pieces of that young and underachieving at the moment, but I still think exciting Cleveland Indians organization. 0-2 now on Wilson.
They've been one of the biggest surprises of the season. A lot of people thought that they would not Detroit, or if Detroit came along, Cleveland would be right in the thick of things, and they have not proven to be thus far. But Grady Sizemore, an all-star this year.
0-2 pitch is on the outside corner, and Orlando Hernandez is dealing now with 7 strikeouts. The 3 runs in the 1st inning so far for the Astros, and that is it. 4-3 Mets as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Cliff Floyd is set to lead it off, and he takes a strike over the inside corner. Bottom of the 6th inning, Mets on top by 1. And there are the numbers for Floyd. 10 home runs last year, and people forget he hit 34 home runs for the Mets. Hit the grand slam in front of a lot of childhood friends in Chicago at Wrigley Field on Sunday night. Said it felt like an entire planet fell off my shoulders. He's been carrying around a lot of pressure with him, battling through an ankle injury and trying to produce, and it's been getting better and better and better. All the while, he has been a great presence in the clubhouse for a lot of the young Mets players. The 1-1, strike 2. Borkowski retired the 3 he faced in the 5th, and he's up on the count here, 1-2 on Cliff Floyd to start the 6th. Another foul. The biggest swing of the day for the Mets is from the guy on deck, Xavier Nady, against Brandon Backe with a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 4th.
A lot of times when we run through pitch sequences, we do it for the pitch effect, but when we go through it with Nady, we're going to let you watch the catcher, Brad Osmus.
And we'll do that right now as Floyd strikes out to start the 6th.
It was a 7-pitch at bat. The first pitch, you may remember, Nady hammered down the left field line. And then he got the slider away, Osmus sitting away. He got the slider away, Osmus sitting away. Another slider, Osmus sitting away. And another slider, and the fastball is inside, and now the key pitch. Osmus sitting inside with the slider, and that is not a pitch that's designed for a catcher to be sitting up inside or setting up inside. And it cost the Astros the lead and gave Nady a 3-run home run.
First pitch of ball to Xavier here from Borkowski, and now a strike, 1-1. Xavier now has 38 RBIs to go with his 14 home runs. Former San Diego Padre had some big years in the minor leagues and is finally getting regular work here with the Mets. Takes a strike, 1-2. Ken Rosenthal is down watching from the photographer's booth past the Mets dugout. And a 1-2 pitch from Borkowski is chopped to short. Tough play. Everett is on a streak. Boy, he's playing great shortstop right now for Houston. And Ken, is there any more on Xavier Nady? Having some technical difficulties with Ken's mic. Now it sounds like it might be working. Ken?
Joe, just in a general sense, Omar Minaya took some criticism for some of his lesser moves this offseason, trading a center fielder, Mike Cameron, for the unproven Nady, trading a starting pitcher, Jay So, for Dwayner Sanchez, signing older veterans, Julio Franco, Jose Valentin. Those moves have all worked out, so in addition to his splashier deals, Delgado and Wagner, going back last year, Beltran and Pedro, he's also succeeding on the margins.
1 ball, no strikes, and now a pitch down and away to Woodward. It's 2-0. Woodward pops it into shallow center, and Preston Wilson is fighting the sun and ending the inning. We go to the 7th here at Shea Stadium. El Duque back to work for 3 Mets. Back after this from your local Fox station. Whatever the age, 36 or 40, Orlando Hernandez is a tremendous athlete. It's pretty to watch him pitch with that leg kick. And he is rolling now in the 7th inning, leading by a run, and he misses up and away to Luke Scott, ball 1.
Biggest difference, the biggest noticeable difference here in the top of the 7th is he's taken the long sleeve shirt off and gone to the short sleeve.
Scott fights it off and pops it up. Shallow left field for Cliff Floyd, 1 out. Our Avidart in-game box score for the Astros while they hit here in the 7th inning. 2 blasts in the 1st inning. Berkman a 2-run shot to right. Preston Wilson a solo blast to right the opposite way, and that is for the most part it. 9 straight now retired by El Duque, and Brad Osmus will dig his way in. And a curveball is tight and in for a strike. Chad Qualls, the right-hander, getting loose for Houston.
A starting pitcher will normally take about 3 or 4 shirts out there, dry shirts. Use the first one, use one every other inning, and hope he uses his 4th. Because if he uses his 4th, he's pitched deep into the game.
Here's a foul out of play off to the right by Osmus, 0-2. Well, he has proven what he can do while pitching for the Yankees and last year for the White Sox, and certainly the same can be said for Jose Contreras, 2 guys who were steeled while pitching for the Cuban national team. Tough, hard-nosed competitors and guys who are used to pitching in big games. He strikes out Osmus and now has struck out 8.
The shortstop, Adam Everett.
Here is Adam Everett. Omar Minaya has made deals before for Hernandez, and not only for Orlando Hernandez, but for his younger half-brother Livan Hernandez. The current contract that Livan is working under was signed by Omar Minaya. So there is history with this family and the general manager of the New York Mets. He's made a couple of deals to get Orlando Hernandez, and may, either on the trading deadline or even after, as Ken Rosenthal suggested, may bring him back. Livan Hernandez. There's a strike back to him and to the Mets for the first time. 2-1 now on Everett. Livan Hernandez made the start today for the Washington Nationals. As Everett fouls it back here. Ken, any more on Livan and where he may end up?
Well, Joe, I don't think they're quite as high on him as they were maybe a month ago. He is not throwing well, about 82 to 84 miles an hour. Concerns about his knee. His ERA is about 6, and he's got $7 million coming next season.
With 2 out and nobody on, the 2-2 pitch is down and away. Full count. Yet Livan Hernandez has also proven to be a big game pitcher, and bulky knee or not, if, as Ken suggested earlier, the push is for this year, leave next year for next year. If that's all they can get. 3-2 pitch is fouled back at Tim.
Foul back to where I was.
Where you were.
I'm gone.
For a brief moment, you were with me.
I've already given.
Breaking ball is down and away for ball 4. And that is the second walk and the first since the first batter of the day for Orlando Hernandez. 1 on, 2 out, and Orlando Palmeiro will come off the bench and hit for Borkowski, who pitched 2 perfect innings with 2 strikeouts.
Joe, you mentioned Livan Hernandez in some big starts, none bigger than Game 7 of the World Series back in 2002. And Orlando Palmeiro was a member of the Anaheim Angels at the time. They were called the Anaheim Angels then. It's a longer name right now. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. But none bigger was that start for Livan Hernandez than Game 7, Giants against the Angels.
And Livan today went 6 innings in the Washington game, allowed 3 earned runs, struck out 5, walked 2 home runs to Aramis Ramirez. But again, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Any agent would take that right to the general manager and ask for a raise. That is a quality start by its very definition. Strike 1 to Palmeiro, a very good left-handed pinch hitter.
That category should be eliminated from Major League Baseball. Quality start. It's ridiculous in my view.
1 ball, 1 strike. I don't think anybody on management side would disagree with you one bit. The aforementioned Scott Boras, however, might take issue. How many quality starts for him?
I cringe when I read those things in the paper. Quality starts. Rubbish.
The 1-1 on the outside corner, strike 2. A guy like Bob Gibson, who had more complete games in his career than he did victories. That's a quality start and a quality starter.
Those are quality starts.
This crowd wants El Duque to give him the top of the 7th inning and keep that 1-run lead. 2-2.
Saw where the Dominican dandy Juan Marichal was here last night, merengue night at Shea Stadium. What a marvelous, graceful, tough pitcher Marichal was.
Check on the runner at first, Everett. With the way that Hernandez has been pitching, it doesn't feel like a 1-run game, but there's the tying run sitting over there at first. Everett has stolen 3, in case you're wondering. And Palmeiro waits for a 2-2 pitch. Time called.
2-2 with 2 outs is not a running situation. You'll see it occasionally, but by running and getting out of the inning, if he's thrown out, you lose the pinch hitter, Palmeiro. And if the pitch is a ball, he's going to be running anyway. That's why this is not a running situation.
Palmeiro out in front, hooks it foul. Bradford and Feliciano, a right-hander and a left-hander, getting loose for the Mets in their bullpen in case Hernandez has this 7th inning extend beyond Palmeiro, and Chad Qualls is getting loose. He'll work the bottom of this 7th. We have almost caught the Cubs and Nationals, who started 1 hour before we did. They're in the bottom of the 7th inning in Washington. Two. Full count. And now Everett will go. Palmeiro hits it foul, and a nice pickup by Delgado. Palmeiro broke his bat.
Pick it in case it's fair.
Well, Palmeiro gets a new stick. Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball. Together they create a positive place for kids. This is probably Hernandez's last batter, no matter what. Runner goes. Palmeiro fouls another. Orlando Palmeiro, who from a relatively young age settled into that left-handed pinch hit specialist role. The Angels, the Cardinals, now the Astros, pops it up. Shallow left. Floyd is there. And El Duque gets through 7 strong. Gave up 3 runs in the first, and that is it. Bottom of the 7th, 4-3. Mets lead it. Fox Saturday Baseball is sponsored by Flomax, by Holiday Inn, the official hotel of Major League Baseball, and by GMC, engineered to the highest standard, professional grade. New pitcher is Chad Qualls, who takes over here in the bottom of the 7th. First up is Ramon Castro, strike 1. Qualls, another good right-hander that the Astros can bring out of their bullpen for the moment. Orlando Hernandez is in the on-deck circle despite being up over 100 pitches and pitching on this humid day. He has help in the bullpen if necessary. Now it's Duaner Sanchez, the right-hander, getting loose.
Craig Biggio expected to lead off the top of the 8th inning, and I'm very surprised that Hernandez is even on deck.
Two and 1 now on Castro, who today is 0 for 2. That's it for Hernandez. Almost looked like Willie Randolph was playing around with him.
Yeah. I mean, even with Castro on at first base, he's a slow runner. It'd be tough to sacrifice him. That would be the only reason you'd leave him in, to save a hitter. But with Franco, who can find that hole over there, now he's putting his hat back.
They've got nobody ready to hit next. Here's a 2-hopper to Everett, who's made only 4 errors all year. And Castro's 0 for 3. The mystery man will be Endy Chavez, who has had a very good year, spot starting and coming off the bench for Willie Randolph.
As Ken Rosenthal talked about the margin players earlier, this guy has been a great margin player and a great pickup by Omar Minaya.
Endy Chavez will hit for Hernandez, who goes 7, allows 3 runs, all in the first inning. Only 4 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 8. Can only be the winner if he gets a decision, and Chavez takes ball 1. Along with being a guy who's come up with some hits for the Mets and a guy who has very good speed, Endy has 8 assists in the outfield. He's got a good arm. That didn't feel good. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good arm, a young man who gets a good jump on the ball. His biggest hit recently was in the 10th inning of Thursday's game, a game won by the Mets in Cincinnati.
Extra inning affair.
Mm-hmm.
One ball, 1 strike. Chavez could not catch up. 1-2. Good pitch from Qualls down, and as I mentioned, one of the good right-handers that the Astros can bring out of their pen. But their success out of their bullpen, and maybe as a team, depends on the kind of second half Brad Lidge has the rest of the way. He has really struggled from time to time this season, and people still talk about the potential effect that home run he gave up to Pujols had from last year's NLCS, and then what he did in the World Series against the White Sox. The 2-2. Full count. It's gotten to the point where Lidge, who has really struggled against left-handed batters, is going back to basics and changing some of his fundamentals, and instead of falling off to the first base dugout side, he's trying to follow through and finish more straight on toward home plate. But trying to find an answer to the question, why has he struggled with all that great stuff? 2 out. And our Flomax game summary here in the bottom of the 7th with nobody on. The Astros got 3 in the first. Home runs by Berkman, a 2-run shot. Preston Wilson, a solo home run. Xavier Nady, the biggest swing of the day, a 3-run shot in the 4th, and El Duque goes 7. How about El Duque's younger half-brother Levon went 6, allowed 3 runs on 7 hits, struck out 5, and the Nationals lead the Cubs 6-3. With 2 out, here's Reyes, and there's strike 1.
Normally with 2 outs and nobody on, you wouldn't even consider bunting right here, but if he bunts, chances are he has a double. He'll end up at second base and not first.
Use those legs and try to steal a base. He was caught trying to steal earlier in the game in the hole 0-2. Reyes was hurt on the 7th of July, diving hand first into the first base bag, and was spiked by Jacobs of the Marlins. Had 7 stitches in the pinky in his left hand and missed 6 games, which included the All-Star game, unfortunately. And a guy who the rest of the baseball world outside of the Mets organization became aware of when Jose played in the Futures game, when the All-Star game was in Milwaukee. And he gave a glimpse of that great speed. Ball 1 back in 2002. All the way back in 2002, the All-Star Futures game. And it is a thing of beauty to watch him run. That pitch up and away, 2-2.
Interesting, showing a past Futures game.
Good point. It's like talking about a future old timers game. Here's a 2-2. Reyes strikes out on a ball in the dirt. Osmus will finish the play, and we go into the 8th inning here at Shea Stadium. El Duque is finished. It's time for the Mets bullpen on what is turning out to be a beautiful day in New York at Shea Stadium for 3 Mets. Andy Chavez stays in the game. He plays right. Xavier Nady, his work is finished with that 3-run home run. And Duaner Sanchez takes over for the Mets here in the 8th inning. Top of the order for the Astros, 4-3 New York. And Biggio out in front of that pitch. Strike one. Steve Horn, our editorial consultant, was talking to scouts who thought that the velocity for Sanchez was down in the game on Wednesday in Cincinnati. Talked to Omar Minaya about it before the game, and he wasn't concerned about Sanchez at all. And he is a vital part to the success of this bullpen with Heilman and, of course, Billy Wagner, the closer. Biggio. Ball one.
His velocity's down today, too. But, you know, pitchers vary with their appearances. That's why, for a starting pitcher, a pitch count is such a nebulous thing. It's because pitchers are stronger on some days than they are on others.
Off the end of the bat, tough play. In to get it is Beltran. Bad knee and all. He's got tendonitis in his right knee, and it bothers him out in center. But able to get there. One down. It's time for the Holiday Inn Look Again play of the game. Brought to you by Holiday Inn, the official hotel for Major League Baseball. In the 4th inning, down by 2. Xavier Nady with a 3-run home run. And to this point, that's it for the scoring. 4-3 Mets. Here's Mike Lamb. And that's into right center field for a base hit. Chavez gets it on 2 bounces, and the tying run is on for Houston. You look at it from the Astros perspective, and we'll try to bring Ken Rosenthal in on this conversation. Houston comes into today's game 9 out behind St. Louis in the division and 5 out behind Cincinnati in the wild card. And Ken, did they make their quote-unquote move by not only getting Clemens earlier, but by getting Aubrey Huff? Is that it?
Joe, I believe they are pretty much done. And for all the talk about what teams might do as the deadline approaches, you're right. They have made 2 significant moves with Clemens and Huff. Their payroll now is above $100 million. They're still struggling. To make money this season, they probably got to make the playoffs. And if they don't make money, their owner, Drayton McClain, is not going to be a very happy man. 1 on, 1 out. Berkman, who's the biggest threat in this lineup for Houston, takes a ball.
Certainly understand that, because usually if you win your National League or win a National League pennant and then the next year don't make money, when are you going to make money?
There's a strike from Sanchez. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, that was really the surprising thing that the Marlins did after they won it, beating the Yankees in 2003, when they turned around and dismantled that team and didn't try to milk that a little bit and get people into their stadium and try to make a little more money before they got rid of everybody.
I think with the Marlins, everything rested on whether they got a new stadium or not. And thus far, that has not happened.
Oakland beat Detroit. There's strike 2 on Berkman.
Good slider from Sanchez. This guy is such a tough out. Lance Berkman, one of the toughest outs in the major leagues. No real sure way to pitch him.
Another note about the Astros, when we talk about what they've done the last 2 years and the great second halves that they've put together to get to the playoffs in 04 and then to get to the World Series last year. If they lose here today, they will be 3-5 on the road trip to this point. Here's a swing and a miss by Berkman. He was fooled, and that's out number 2.
That's the thing about when you vary your speeds with your fastball, there's no need to concern when a guy, unless he's got a problem with his arm. This is a split finger fastball that goes straight down. Tough pitch from Sanchez.
Houston started at the Marlins, went through Chicago, and now here they are at Shea taking on the Mets. If they lose today, they'll be 3-6 on this 10-game road trip to start the second half with 1 to go. And that's not a good start to the second half of the season. This team will head home, and they've got some dates coming up with the Cincinnati Reds, and those look to be huge games. Cincinnati leading the wild card in the National League. 1-0. 2-0. Last night, Cincinnati got 3 runs in the 9th inning to beat Milwaukee 6-5. A 2-0 to Aubrey Huff. Out in front of that pitch, 2-1.
Think of the problems that Aubrey Huff has by coming to the Astros, having to learn pitchers all over again. I mean, he's been a part of the Devil Rays for the last 6 years for the most part, and now trying to learn pitchers in the second half for a contending team. Very difficult.
Huff pops it up right side. Delgado in fair territory, hauls it in, and the inning is over. That'll do it for 7.5 here at Shea. Mets come to bat, leading by 1.
Big Poppy and the Red Sox battle the Angels. Fox Saturday Baseball next week.
Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by Aquafina. Make your body happy, drink more water. By Bank of America. Experience higher standards in checking only from Bank of America. By WebMD, better information, better health. And by Baby Ruth from Nestle. Savor the official candy bar of Major League Baseball. Bottom of the 8th inning, and Qualls is back to work. Billy Wagner is getting loose to try to close it down for the Mets in the 9th. The first pitch to Jose Valentin is down and in, ball 1. Walked his first 2 times up, fly to right in the 5th. There's Wagner, who has struggled here at home his first year with the Mets. There's a base hit by Valentin. Leadoff man is on. Bottom of the 8th. Jeannie Zelasco along with a game break.
And an update from Seattle. That's where the Red Sox are hanging out. And Mike Lowell is going out. No score until that occurred. The solo shot off Felix Hernandez. Close 13th, but Boston's on the board. 1-0 top 2.
Thank you, Jeannie. And if you look at the AL East, with what Boston is doing, they've won 5 in a row. The Yankees have lost 3 in a row. It's a 3.5 game lead again for the Red Sox. And Toronto's only 5.5 out. Or better said, 2 out behind the Yankees. Check on Valentin with Beltran at the plate.
I have a revelation to make. A hot, muggy day today. And I honestly believe that Alex Rodriguez is responsible for global warming.
You could make the case.
Is there anything that he is not responsible for when the Yankees lose today? It is ludicrous.
Strike 1 to Beltran.
3 errors in a winning cause last week, 5 days ago. And you would have thought that the Yankees actually lost the game. And then a throwing error in Toronto on Friday night, make that Thursday night. And it certainly did abet the Yankees losing the game. But the game went to extra innings, and the home run off Mariano Rivera was the difference in the game. I mean, he had a hand in it. But to hear those following the Yankees, to hear the headlines here, I mean, it has gotten to be outlandish, the things they're blaming him for, in my view.
There are the numbers as he got to 450, the same time he hit the 2,000 career hit plateau. 7th youngest to get there. But the errors are piling up at third. He's DHing today for the Yankees in their game at Toronto. And they are scoreless in the 2nd inning there. But it's almost to the point now where the quotes from Alex Rodriguez is that he has to go out and remind everybody that he's been a great player. So you can't tell me that it's not weighing on his mind.
No question about it. No doubt.
That his birthday coming this week and him accomplishing it, the youngest to get to 450 home runs, is cool because his birthday's coming and it reminds him how many great things he's accomplished in his career. And that's starting to seep into his game, I think, defensively.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true.
Because a lot of the errors are throwing errors. And
you can almost see how he's getting up under all of his throwing errors. Larry Boa, the third base coach, saying it's more mental. I don't think there's any question about that. It's amazing how, for a pitcher or a guy like Chuck Knobloch, when you consider the problems he had throwing a baseball to first base without any impediment whatsoever, but that when the mind tells the elbow that you're going to throw something bad, that it's amazing what that elbow will do. And that's part of what he's going through now, among many other things.
Like a version of the yips. In golf. 0-2 pitch. Beltran spoils another. Oh, and 2 on Carlos Beltran. Ball 1 from Qualls. Yankees got underway and got a couple of runs in the 2nd. We'll have a game break coming up from Jeannie Zalasko after Beltran does something here in the 8th. Trevor Miller, the left-hander, is getting loose for the Astros in their pen with Delgado on deck. Out number 1. Let's go to Jeannie Zalasko for an update.
We're talking about A-Rod from one extreme to another. Few in New York feeling more love than Bernie Williams, and this helps the cause. 2-run home run off Ted Lilly. Yankees on the board, 2-0, bottom 2.
And there's their spot in the AL East, 3.5 games behind Boston. Garner's going to take the ball from Qualls, and that means that with Delgado coming up, Miller is coming in out of the bullpen for the Astros in a 1-run game here at Shea. Trevor Miller early in the season was on the disabled list with an elbow sprain. He has dropped down his arm angle a little bit, and that should make it tougher for left-handed batters to figure him out. Carlos Delgado is at the plate. Carlos today has a sac fly. He's walked and scored and then struck out back in the 5th against Borkowski. Delgado is part and the founder of the Extra Bases Foundation, which is raising money for underprivileged children here and in Puerto Rico. And in 5 years, they've raised over $900,000, and the way they're doing it is by selling $3 rubber bracelets here at Shea Stadium. And Delgado waits for an 0-1 pitch. The next is down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pretty good back-to-back left-handed thump in this Mets lineup. No David Wright today in the lineup to break up Delgado and Cliff Floyd, but he's on the bench if Willie Randolph needs him. 1-1 pitch. High and tight, throw down to first, and Valentin back.
A lot of times you make that play, the throw to first base, if the pitch allows you to make it. Osma's coming up and throwing behind Delgado. Valentin back in time.
Delgado with 62 RBIs on the season. Hitting only 200 here at Shea Stadium this season for the Mets. Now it's 2-2.
Miller just blowing the fastball by Delgado.
One on, one out, 2-2 pitch. Delgado fouls it back to the screen.
Delgado, you may or may not know, came up as a catcher. And for obvious reasons, because the Toronto Blue Jays wanted to get more thump from him rather than having him behind the plate, he was moved to first base. Marvelous career.
Carlos hit a home run on Thursday, the finale in Cincinnati for the Mets. It was his first since June 28th in Boston. And then he homered here last night. So a home run in each of his last 2 games, and he is hitless today. Does have an RBI. 2-2 pitch. Instead, another check on Valentin. Delgado hitting only 167 during the month of July. Got off to a great start with his new team, and here he shoots one into right center field. Valentin will dig for third. Berkman, a nice play to cut it off, and it's first and third, 1 out. A hit for Delgado.
A roundhouse hanger. Curveball right in the middle of the plate. Delgado so strong. Nice play by Berkman to cut it off and hold Valentin to third base.
So Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, will come out and talk about this situation. First and third and 1 out. Cliff Floyd coming up. Our Pepsi clutch performance last Sunday. Mets at Wrigley. New York hits 2 grand slams in the 6th inning at Wrigley Field. Cliff Floyd and Carlos Beltran hit the grand slams. And the first time for the franchise to have 2 in the same inning. The last team to do it, the Cardinals. The last player to do it, Fernando Tatis. He did it in the same inning out in Los Angeles. The kicker to that story is, and why that one may never be topped, he did it off the same pitcher. Chan-Ho Park. How can you imagine a pitcher being around long enough in 1 inning to give up 2 grand slams to the same guy?
What a feat. Remarkable.
Infield is in. First and third, 1 out. Cliff Floyd, strike 1.
I think the middle infielders can elect to go for 2 as Julio Franco is on deck. But if the ball's not hit sharply, and that's what determines whether you go for 2 or not. If it's a weak ground ball, you come home. If it's hit hard, you go for 2 to get out of the inning.
Miller wants the strikeout. Try to help keep this a 1-run game with Billy Wagner set to come in. And he's 2/3 of the way there. On the corner, struck him out, 2 down. 3 pitches, and Miller gets Cliff Floyd.
Sometimes everybody thinks that a pitcher can just hit the spot. That spot was about 12 inches off. With Osma setting up inside, pitch was away, and Phil Garner will make another move.
Julio Franco is announced as the pinch hitter here in the 8th, and Russ Springer is going to come out of the bullpen with first and third, 2 out in a 1-run game.
New pitcher Russ Springer for the Astros, but while the new pitcher came in, Luke Scott put his glove down and went in, I assume, to go to the restroom or whatever. But it's reminiscent of the old days when the defensive team used to leave their gloves in their positions. I guess that custom stopped about 40 years ago or so. It brought back some very mediocre memories.
As you wound your way through that story, you were waiting for your own kicker, and it just never came.
Never came.
Julio Franco pinch hitting, first and third, 2 out. And Springer misses high, ball 1. Franco, 47 years old, dealing with Springer and trying to add to a 4-3 Mets lead before Wagner takes over, the longtime Houston Astro. Even with David Wright on the bench, Franco gets the call. He's used to this role, and he takes a strike. It's 1-1. Woodward made the start today, and David Wright got the day off.
Yeah, we talked about it ad nauseum, but with a guy like Franco who hits the ball the other way as frequently as he does, there is no way you can hold Delgado on right here. I think Mike Lamb's got to be playing back into the position and dare him to run.
Shooting it to right and foul, strike 2.
Yeah, that's his normal stroke. His natural stroke is to right field. Because of that curl, Julio at age 47 pointing the bat at the pitcher, and there's no way that he can get around on any kind of high fastball. As you take a look at that hit by direction, 20 of his hits to center or right.
Two and two. The Astros in the 9th inning will have Preston Wilson, who's homered today, Luke Scott, and Brad Ausmus. Burke is on the bench, Bruntlett, and Eric Munson. Now full count. When Omar Minaya, and now they'll play behind the runner at first. When Omar Minaya stopped in our booth, the first guy he talked about as a veteran presence for the young kids on this team was Julio Franco. Been a big part of the Braves' success over the past few years, playing for Bobby Cox. Delgado will go at first. 3-2 pitch is high, and the bases are loaded. Now it's Woodward. There's the day for Woodward, 0 for 2 with a walk. Now Dan Wheeler gets loose. But a chance for Woodward and the Mets to do the damage here against Springer. Strike one, good pitch. Couple of raindrops falling here at Shea Stadium while the Mets faithful hope for a little breathing room in the 9th inning, and Ausmus wants to talk. Mets have already hit 4 grand slams this week. Cliff Floyd got it started on Sunday night. Same inning, Beltran. Then Beltran batting right-handed at Cincinnati in the next game on Tuesday. And last night, Jose Valentin. The back starter John Maine, who threw a 4-hit shutout. The 0-1 on the outside corner, strike 2. 1 grand slam in Woodward's career. He's been with Toronto prior to coming to New York. Springer trying to get out of a mess. Hits the outside corner and the inning is over. Woodward goes down without a swing on the last 2 pitches with the bases loaded. 2 out. That ends the 8th. Billy Wagner will take over, trying to close it, up by 1. Off we go into the 9th inning. Preston Wilson first up. The rain picks up here at Shea Stadium. 4-3, the Mets on top. Wagner trying to close it, and Wilson up there ready to hack. Strike 1. Preston homered in the 1st, reached on an error in the 4th, and struck out in the 6th. El Duque went 7, allowed 3 runs on 4 hits. A scoreless 1-hit inning by Sanchez. And a breaking ball is in for a strike 0-2 on Wilson. Down and away, ball 1. Billy Wagner has blown 4 saves. 3 of them have come here at his new home, Shea Stadium. A home ERA of 4.43, a road ERA of 0.42. 1-2 pitch. A loss here would throw the Astros to 6 games under 500. 9.5 out in the NL Central. And for the moment, 5.5 behind Cincinnati. Another 1-2 pitch from Wagner. Another foul ball. 97 on the gun from the left-hander who came up with the Astros. Billy Wagner in 95. And had some big save years, including 44 in his last season with the Astros in 2003 before spending 2 years in Philly. Two and two.
That was a funky pitch. I think that was a split finger fastball. I think if you're talking about a guy who's already struck out 88 times this year, I don't think you throw him anything other than your fastball right here.
He does, and he strikes him out 1 away.
They started out with that formula, and they end it with that formula. High heat gets Wilson.
And brings in Luke Scott, who's 1 for 3. Lefty on lefty. Even with Chris Burke on the bench.
Yeah, it's a little odd. Good point.
Toronto's on the board, 2-1 Yankees in the 3rd inning. Seattle has taken a 1-run 3rd inning lead over the Red Sox. Strike 1 on Luke Scott. There's Chris Burke. The right-handed hitting multi-dimensional player, but it's Luke Scott who is sent to the plate. A little high, ball 1.
Joe, to accentuate your point, left-handed batters are batting 128 against Wagner this year. 128.
Strike 2.
Watch the front side bail out. Wicked slider away to Scott.
This crowd wants strikeout number 2. Pretty good rip by Scott with 2 strikes and a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
You could see Castro pounding the glove inside and then jumping out outside. You can't be too tricky in this game, not with a guy like Wagner. Put down the sign and just sit there and watch Castro. Pounds inside because a lot of hitters go with sound. If they hear the pounding inside, they look for it inside. With Wagner, you just can't be too tricky.
2-2. Off the end of the bat, left center field. Beltran coming to get it. 2 down. And the Astros are down to their final out. Ausmus will walk to the plate. Former battery mates in an Astros uniform, and now the matchup with 2 out, nobody on in the 9th inning. Tremendous pitching today from Orlando Hernandez, Duaner Sanchez, and now Wagner trying to end it. Ausmus hit his last home run June 7th. In case you are wondering, 1 ball, 1 strike. The Mets right now are 20 games over the 500 mark. The Astros 5 under. Two balls and a strike. Rain is stopped. Back to Wagner, through him and into center field. The game continues. Wagner disappointed he didn't come up with it. That ball was hit hard back up the middle by Ausmus.
Yeah, Wagner falling toward the third base side. The ball hit to his left, and he couldn't get the glove back in time.
So now the tying run is on, with Adam Everett stepping to the plate.
No, Joe, when you throw the ball that hard, there is no way you can be set for a ground ball coming back to the middle.
And when you throw the ball that hard, who cares?
Who cares? That's exactly right. I mean, how many opportunities do you have to field a ground ball back through the middle?
Slider in for a strike. 0-1 on Everett, who was doubled today, walked and struck out. Astros have a chance, have the tying run at first with 2 out. Ausmus the man on. To the shortstop, Reyes. Mets win another. A final of 4-3. Our final score 4-3. The Mets win, and they've taken the first 2 games of this series. 21 games over the 500 mark. And they add for the moment to what is a 13-game lead, now 13 and a half. Our Chevrolet player of the game is Orlando Hernandez. El Duque gave up 3 runs in the first and then shut down Houston. He ended up going 7 innings, allowing 3 runs, 4 hits, walked 2, struck out 8. In recognition of his outstanding play, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, Chevy, and American Revolution. For Ken Rosenthal and Tim McCarver, our producer Pete Macheska, our director Bill Webb, and so many others here at Shea. Joe Buck. Right now, here's Jeannie Zelasco and Kevin Kennedy back at the Fox Network Center.
Welcome to the Chevy Postgame Show on Fox. Chevy, America's #1 fan. 63-minute rain delay. I think it was worth the wait for the Mets.
Definitely.
More frustration for the Astros. 5 fewer wins than they had this time last year. Still trying to mount that second-half comeback.
Yeah, they're right at the bottom in the National League in hitting, and we all know that's no secret that the Astros have offensive problems. That's why they traded for Aubrey Huff a little while ago. But, you know, the New York Mets, what Omar Minaya did, he upgraded the bullpen, and that's been a big issue in the past for them, and getting Billy Wagner and even Duaner Sanchez for Jay So in that trade. Those 2 guys at the end of the bullpen are doing the job. And El Duque, it's a nice surprise today, and, you know, he's a guy they're going to need down the stretch.
Yeah, as you said, I talked to him the other day, they are not done. All right, let's talk about the best team in baseball. The Tigers going down in defeat on national TV today as Oakland got them. 9-5, the outcome there. 5-run second inning. All right, the game that you just saw as the Mets pull this one out 4-3.
Yeah, their main offense there, Lance Berkman, home run number 26 for him. He's got 87 RBIs. That's second in the National League. The Yankees, 2 runs on the board early. Bernie Williams, a home run genie. And
Alex
DH
Rodriguez.
DH today.
That's right. You guys, you were going the same way.
Yeah.
Thinking the same thought.
Been around together a long time.
Yeah, a few years, yeah. So maybe a few more. All right, bottom 3, all knotted up because of David Ortiz. Ichiro. Ichiro got the Mariners on the board, and then David Ortiz singled in a run.
Yeah, 13 home runs for Mike Lowell, too. Braves and Phillies in a rain delay. 63 minutes, maybe?
64, I say.
Okay, raise
Alfonso Soriano in a Nationals uniform today.
In a national game today, 4 for 5. 3 doubles, a triple. Yes, you want him out there. It's going to cost you. Jim Bowden's holding out. You know that.
As well he should. Got to beef up that farm system. All right, we're checking out the schedule for next week. The Braves look to make up some ground in the NL East when they face the Mets. Or the Angels take on the Red Sox, plus the Dodgers look to get back on the top of the West as they host the Nationals. Or the Cardinals battle the Cubs. It all starts next week, 1 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, right here on Fox. Do you see an arm out there that the Mets can pick up?
For the Mets, I don't really see one out there. Maybe Greg Maddux. Who knows?
There you go.
Another veteran.
He's got to say he wants to go.
Get Pedro back. Get Pedro healthy.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, for Kevin Kennedy, I'm Jeannie Zalasko. We'll see you next Saturday.
Promotional consideration paid for by